Well, hello, 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 hello. Big day here at Beyond Technology. We are recording this meeting. A lot of people are on spring break and wanted to hear this message on their return. So, we're really excited to share this 20th birthday celebration with you. Um, it's kind of interesting to be in business for 20 years. Most of you know me. I'm Ernie Delgado, one of the founders of Beyond Technology Education. And wow, it's fascinating and crazy that it's been a 20-year journey to this point of helping schools, helping teachers, helping students integrate technology. And it's been a blast. I can't say I regret any of it. It's been a lot of fun. Um, and things are a lot different than they were 20 years ago. Um, Technology sure has evolved, shows no signs of letting up. Um, the worlds in which we live in at schools is very different. When we first started, I think we were talking about 286, 386, um, Mac Classics. You remember those days? Yeah, command line DOS prompts. None of that's here anymore. We're schools have virtual networks and students come to class and learn from home anywhere in the world. Who would have thought that 20 years ago? It's mind-boggling. Cloud drives have changed the game. Google in particular. Um, Software like Microsoft is so bulletproof these days and so detailed and intricate. And then you look at some of the upstarts like Canva, the graphic design tools that used to require thousands of dollars in software can now be had for free on your computer through a software as a service application. Um, if anything, that the big concern now is security. Digital citizenship probably is one of the more important aspects of a technology program. If I had to really pick one, obviously students need everything, but I think protecting themselves and understanding truth is critical today. And we're happy that we discuss these things and help students become more knowledgeable on how to understand the information they see. It saddens me that bullying, especially through social media, is an issue now. That wasn't anything 20 years ago. There wasn't even an iPhone 20 years ago. There wasn't anything close to an iPhone 20 years ago. So it's just interesting where we're at. And I'm very excited for where we're at. And I'm going to touch on a couple points. I don't want to make this real long. But even though we've come a long way, we haven't come far enough. Um, the traditional classroom pretty much still looks like the traditional classroom. There are some modifications. I see a lot more document cameras. I see a lot more presentation systems and presentation boards. I see, more sophisticated teachers. If anything, students have always been hungry and anxious to learn. Excuse me. But where I've seen the most improvement is with teachers. And I used to tell people, the bottleneck on all of this is teachers. If you have 50 teachers at a school, it's 50 different ability levels, and getting them all on the same page was a challenge. It's still a challenge, but the challenge is much less. The struggle is real, but the struggle is much less than it was 20 years ago. Teachers, for the most part, are no longer fearful of technology. That was a real thing 20 years ago. There was a definite fear. I don't see that anymore. I don't hear teachers afraid of technology. Sometimes they're afraid of not knowing the right answer in front of their students, but I think that's just a human emotion. No one, none of us, when we're the authority figure, we always want to have the answer, right? But I think teachers, for the most part, are very technology savvy in their personal lives. Really, what they need is just support and guidance on how to apply it to their role in the classroom, and to understand that the students are by their side. Not you're not talking down to students anymore. We're talking together about technology, and the cumulative group, I think, could solve most problems. And I think the good teachers that really have a handle on technology leverage that group think. If I don't have the answer, someone in this classroom does. and together we'll figure it out. And that's where, magic happens, because that's the real world. Collaboration in the workplace, collaboration amongst your coworkers, amongst your peers, virtually on site. That's the world now. So teachers have embraced that for the most part, and that's beautiful. And but you still have to look at look at reality. What's the reality of our students' lives today and their careers, educational careers moving forward, and their working careers. Um, if I had the options that these students had today, I may not be in this seat right now having this conversation with you. The options today are vast and powerful and meaningful. And if a student can't get excited about their future today, I don't know, what it's going to. So much opportunity. There's so much change. There's so much um, just dynamic things that are taking place that capture imagination. And I think when it comes to learning and doing something you love as a career, it requires something that captures your imagination, something that you get passionate about. And as we partner with, as we look at different industries, obviously we're really ramping up our programming components and coding components, because that just that's in so many different aspects of work today. And then I look at industries. This image I grabbed for a reason. Aerospace here, especially in the Southwest of the United States, is huge, and so that's just one of many industries that are really becoming game changers, and helping our students find their passion in a booming industry. Um, a certain percentage of your students will fall into careers, traditional careers, doctor, lawyer, teacher, fireman, librarian. These are traditional careers. They've been around forever. They're not going anywhere. It's good, solid work. But some of your students might want to get more into a technical field. They want to know about machine learning. They might want to know about blockchain. They might want to know about 5G and the Internet of Things. Um, because these are just game-changing technologies that have unlimited capacity for growth. And so, how do we prepare our kids for these things that maybe as a teacher we're not even completely knowledgeable about? Maybe we don't really understand these game-changing technologies, but that's where the challenge is today. Teachers, they can't know everything. Obviously, in the younger grades especially, you need to make sure the students have a strong foundation. They need to understand how to edit a document, and they understand how to spell. They need to know their multiplication tables and their math equations. There's fundamental things that we need to make sure students have. But how can we show these things in context? How can we put them in a context that gives students some kind of platform or understanding of how it's going to apply to the real world? And when I look at my educational career, I think that was something that was really missing. Is, okay, there's all this knowledge that I'm getting in school, even in university, in some cases, but how does that connect with my future? With the careers that are available or will be available. That connection, I think, is a really important part for young people. They need to see the big picture. Um, Maybe they want a more direct route to career than the traditional K-12, K-14, K-16, K-20 worlds out there. Who knows? But what I do know is that today offers more opportunity than ever. And we could think Moore's law. We could think exponential growth. There's so many different things that we're aware of that we know are real concepts. Um, and just look at where we're at. We're at this very pivotal moment in time as a people, as a country. It's not all roses out there, obviously, but there's some really bright spots, and one of them is innovation. We are innovating as a race, as a species, as a country, as a people like never before. It's amazing. The over just the last 100 years, the innovations and developments, it's mind-boggling. It really is. And what's even more mind-boggling is that it's not slowing down, it's speeding up. And I just love the concept of exponential growth. And I'd like to share this with people because I think it really illustrates where we're at as a country. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. Traditional growth, flat growth, really. And then you look at exponential growth. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 16 is 256. 256 times 256 is 65,536. The next iteration is 16 million. And the next iteration is a number that I don't even know. 281 cajillion. Again, I don't know what that number is, but it's big. And it illustrates the fact that things are just moving faster than ever, moving, evolving, changing. And so the opportunity to jump on this trend is amazing. And it's not easy though. We see what it's done to our world. We've seen the kind of technologies that are around us. Like, you know, if you ever looked at a YouTube video and how many people watched it, and then just think about, how that got out there, it's kind of crazy. Um, if you look at the processing power just in your simple cell phone, it's not simple. There's more processing power in this phone than on the first rocket that went to the moon. No joke. And and so those are easy, simple examples, but there's so many more that aren't even on. They're not on this chart here, but things happening with just understanding the brain. I just heard something about cancer research yesterday that looks very promising. The technology to put men and women on Mars. The fact that we're even talking about that just is groundbreaking. And then, if you're going to put people on Mars, just look at all the different industries below that and the different jobs and the different skill sets required. It's going to be significant. How are we preparing students for that? If you look at energy as we move to, past the fossil fuel era into renewables, fascinating innovations are taking place. And so, those are two examples, and there's thousands of things that are happening. If you just look at currency and the blockchain, if you look at communication and virtual reality and those tools, you look at Web 3.0 technologies, where these things are merging and creating entirely new industries. You have a lot of people that are leaving your traditional um, you know, high paying jobs on Wall Street or in the markets, and they're looking at Web 3.0 as the next holy grail of development, because the things that are happening in that space are significant and world changing. And this is what we want to do. We want to create world changers. But look at the world that we're in. And again, I'm approaching this from an educator standpoint. I'm a technology educator, and I have evaluated how the traditional educational model has evolved in education, K-12 in particular, and it hasn't really innovated much. It has innovated, but it's a very different. In the 80s, when I was in high school, I remember having one of the first computer classes, and it was a basic programming class. And, a third of the way through the class, the teacher gave up and said, Ernie, you teach the class. You understand this stuff way better than I do. And I did. I didn't take it over, but we worked together as a group. And he and I taught the basic class. And that was just one thing that happened back then. I got exposed early to technology. It's part of my skill set, but I'm early in that. I'm one of the few in my generation that had that exposure to technology that early and made a career of it, as you could see. Am I, a high-end programmer at this point? No, I focused on my lane and did it pretty well, and plan on doing it even better in the future. But if you look at other industries, they're just growing exponentially. So education not growing as fast, other industries growing exponentially. A few that I just want to point out, you know, per, if you look at renewable energy, it's one of the fastest growing sectors on the planet. If you look at data science, also one of the fastest growing sectors on the planet. Healthcare. So that's the full list. If you look at the top um, fastest growing company or sectors on the planet, it falls into three categories, which I think is really interesting. So if we're preparing kids for this future, for this reality, their future is not our past. How do we do that? And for some teachers, it's mind-boggling. It's like they don't even really want to spend the time because it's beyond them. Some teachers, they're neck deep in this. This is their passion. They're trying to figure it out. We support both. We have models. We have a model that we're very proud of called SwimGrid, School-Wide Integration Model. And it focuses on supporting schools that want to attain more and are aware that technology is that platform. And how do we all get better at technology in the classroom? From students to IT staff to computer teachers to classroom teachers to administration. How do we all kind of understand the role and how can we apply it to a faster moving classroom that kind of doesn't just look at today but prepare students for tomorrow? And it's pretty aware of a progression. And this is something that I love showing this slide. I hope you can read it. In the event you can't, let me get into it, because level, in my opinion, and again, 20 years in ed tech, I think my opinion has a little bit of weight at this point. As the founder of this company and someone who's helped it evolve over time, level 1, 2, and 3 skills. Level 1, keyboarding, still a thing. Word processing, still a thing. Presentation tools, basic computer operation, the internet, necessary skills. Level 2, multimedia, graphic design, file management, digital citizenship, critical, desktop publishing and photo editing, basic critical skills to have. Level 3, coding, collaboration, video production, spreadsheets, databases, complex problem solving. So these level 1, 2, 3 skills, I think, are mandatory. Basic level stuff. Students need to have a handle on this. Now, in our model, we start all three of those levels in kindergarten, even pre-K. Simple projects to understand the fundamentals, and then because we live on a scope and sequence, in first grade they build on that. In our model, by the time students are in 8th grade, they are computing at a higher level than most high schools or university students because of the structure that we have created, because of the training and support models we have created. We have 100% confidence that a school that partners with us will nail level 1, 2, and 3 out of the park. No doubt. No doubt. I have hundreds of examples around the country of schools that are doing just that. So if you're not doing these things in your schools, you're doing your students a disservice. We are sending them into a world that is beyond us, that is far beyond what we ever dreamt the world would become. And they need to be prepared. They need to have skills. They need to have abilities and mindsets that are different that we were prepared for. It's different for them. It's a much faster world. It's evolving faster than we ever thought possible, and we need to make sure they're prepared. Now, level 4 is where things get spicy. Level 4 is where now students start seeing some of these game-changing technologies. Now, we're in the process of formalizing many partnerships to do this right, because some of these things are very specialized and we have partners on board that do it really well. So we partner with them and with schools to get it done very well. Robotics is a big one. 3D printing is another big one. Maker spaces are coming back. I know with COVID, they kind of lost their steam, but I see a little bit of that coming back. VR, AR, programming, we got a partner for that. So we're excited about the future of Beyond Technology Education. We're excited about the tools the curriculums, the trainings, the supports, the assessments that we have developed to help you be better at what you do and prepare kids for their future, not our past. We're 20 years and we're just getting started. And I guess that's, I don't want to get emotional, but that's where we're at as a company, just getting started. So, I'll touch on level 5. These are things that I don't imagine happening in a middle school or high school. I don't think gene editing is going to happen, but understanding some of these more technical disciplines and how that might impact a student's life, just maybe doing some research, understanding, who are the players, what are they doing, what are the innovations, and how is it going to impact the world. These kind of conversations could take place, not necessarily doing those things. So that's kind of where we're at. So let's start with one of our key partners, and we're very excited to be all in with Canva. And if you don't know, Canva is not Canvas. I have to explain this to some people. Canvas is an LMS. They do great things. Canva's different. Canva is a graphic design suite, and that's putting it simply. They're evolving very rapidly and creating more tools and features that will one day, in my opinion, rival some of the things happening in Google Workspace. So Canva is a great company to get started with. We're very happy with what they've provided us as a partner, and moving forward, our goal is just to support their vision because it helps schools. And at the end of the day, I think, if a company like Canva, multi-billion dollar international, one of the fastest growing software as a service tools on the planet, they have decided in their wisdom that education is important. They are supporting education. They're developing tools that will help teachers teach better. They're developing tools that will help students learn better. Canva is all in with education. So I'm happy to say that we are all in with them, because not only are their tools free for teachers, their tools are free for students. We're all about free, guys. We understand budgeting. We understand teachers struggle with having to pay for licenses and stuff. And the fact that Canva has free tools for teachers, I think, is just a beautiful thing. And so we've really we're really embracing that concept. Um, so that let me move on to the next. As many of you that are watching this have already worked within our curriculum. Now, I'm sorry I didn't have time to make this slide pretty. We're in the process of updating our curriculum, but some of the key changes is we'll have 9 levels instead of 6. We're starting the whole process out with a creative unit where kids can really be creative with technology. I already mentioned the all in with Canva. We are focusing on GIFs and complex presentations. I'm not going to say for the first time, but we are focusing more on a design thinking philosophy and understanding how design really could dictate a lot of how you build your project or whatever it is you're working on. We're going to start including journaling within our coding and programming units, so students understand how to journal, which is a very common practice in the real world. And we're also excited to say with some of our key partners that every year we're going to add a new programming language. So if a student started with us in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, in 4 years they will have 4 languages under their belt, um, which is fantastic. We are going to be focusing more on data, collecting, analyzing, and visualizing data. Advanced tools like stop motion screencasting, voiceover reviews, video blogging, all that stuff, public speaking. Wow. If I had to say one thing that was a kind of a life-changing skill for me in middle school, was when the woodshop class that I signed up for was full and they put me into the public speaking class because that was the only thing left. I was shocked. I was scared, but man, oh man, did that class. Public speaking obviously is a huge skill, and we want to help students understand that and learn that. Quizlet, screencasting, computer science videos, all that, graphic design vocabulary. Digital citizenship, as I mentioned, is critical in this day and age. There's so many different aspects of understanding your role in the digital world and how to protect yourself, not just your name, but where you're at, and how to discern information, critical these days. And we are working within different LMS systems, and I'm really excited about our themes. As you know, we're all about character development. It's fundamental to what we do. Obviously, we want to teach tech skills, but we need a project, and so our projects are built around themes. And this coming year, grit, becoming a goal-getter. Grit has been identified as one of those key skill sets that really differentiates the successful from unsuccessful. Having grit just means you don't give up. You keep going, you figure it out, you find a way, you're inspired to keep moving forward. We're going to start teaching more of that. Relationship skills, especially in today's day and age. We're not alone on this planet. We have others around us, from family to siblings to classmates to online relationships, understanding that role. Making responsible choices. One of my favorite units this year that we're going to be continuing is making responsible screen time choices. Just making students aware of how much time they're on a screen and what is that content. Just understanding that and actually visualizing it with graphing and making wise decisions on how to append that and use screen time more wisely. And something I'm super excited about, I guess it's from that Tony Robbins seminar I went to 20 years ago, but instilling a growth mindset, understanding abundance, understanding what's available, to you, not being limited. Um, Super excited. And I have to thank Laura Lynn Vasquez, who is our new curriculum director, who's really infused some of her attributes and goals with students. And I just look at her as a mother, and I look at her children, three brilliant young ladies, and she's an educator, and she has a really amazing background. And when she brought all of that cumulative ability to Beyond Technology Education, it really sparked us and brought new life. And we're excited to have her continue developing this new curriculum. It's looking good. And I do want to focus on some of our strategic partners. On the curriculum side, I mentioned Canva. Common Sense Education is another group we really respect, and we link out to them. Um, as far as coding programming, CodeStop, First Lego, Mindstorm also, and Wonder Workshop, we're really going to be moving up our programming coding component of what we do. For those local to us, we do have two IT partners, Formation Tech here in Southern California, Salesian Academy in the Bay Area, and then Curriculum Track has become a really popular tool for our clients. And if any of your teachers are doing curriculum mapping, well, Track is not only the shortcut to doing that, but it's really the best way to map because there's so much content. Instead of coming up from scratch, you could really borrow and fine tune a map specifically for your school. And it's in a digital world now. You never lose it. And then Funds for Solar is a renewable energy curriculum and fundraising group. So we have, in my opinion, a good stable of partners, and we're going to be adding on to this monthly. There's so many people out there that we want to align ourselves with because we have a similar vision and we have similar goals and values. And it takes a village. And so really, I think that the point we're trying to stress is, as a company Beyond Technology, we're looking out of our fishbowl, and we're looking to be embraced by the ed tech community as a whole, and to become a key player in that infrastructure, in that ecosystem, if you will, and to really keep building up our tools. I show pictures of binders here, and we still do print binders, but all of our tools are digital now. And we find that that's kind of the new way. We are evolving and moving on. And I'm not going to get too detailed on all of our key curriculum projects. I mentioned some of the themes, a goal getter, grit, relationships, responsible choices, instilling a growth mindset, all in with Canva. We still support Microsoft. We still support Google Workspace for Education. We still support Apple tools, and our projects are powerful. They are all, again, based on a scope and sequence. Our lesson plans that can be delivered by a technology teacher, computer teacher, tech specialist. They could also be delivered by a somewhat technology technologically astute classroom teacher. In that model, we train and support them. In either model, we're not just about giving out digital materials. It's all about assessment. It's all about professional development, and it's all about customizing. So we do all of those things still. The projects get evolved over time. Um, Again, I would love to sit down with each of you individually and really show you how this stuff can work fantastically in your technology vision, if it's a classroom model or a mobile classroom, mobile technology lab, um, either way. And we're really proud of how our model has evolved. And starting out the conversation with computer science curriculum, because this is kind of our main claim to fame. Ooh, I just made a rhyme there. Um, we do this well, and I will also do a little homage to Jennifer Gullidge, who kind of got us to this point, did a fantastic job, and now we just have this model that it's time to just elevate it and keep bringing it up to speed and keep making it better and giving tools for you teachers, computer teachers, to really have what it takes to prepare your students for their future, not our past. And so we're excited. We're really super pumped. Um, Let us know if you're interested in working with us. There's several steps involved. So, step one is kind of an initial presentation. We want you to understand our model. The swim grid is you know, we created that. And that's our entree into EdTech integration. There's samples, there's videos, there's references, all of that. But at the end of the day, we want to strengthen your EdTech vision. We want to be part of the team. We don't want to be another vendor. We want to be a partner with your school, helping you evolve to the next level and make sure your students are aware and prepared for their future. And so, join us. We're on all the major social media channels. You could find us at Beyond K-12. We do have a new social media manager, so we are going to be creating more content. We will be developing more videos, how-tos, and really providing more resources for educators that will just be publicly available. But at some point in time, let's have a conversation. Let us help you maybe rethink your vision, have some substance to your model, to help you fundraise for those visions, to help you communicate with your families, with your teachers. Use us, leverage what we do. Um, you know, Again, 20 years in business, I think is a pretty big accomplishment. Um, in any business, but the fact that we're not only in education, but in education technology specifically. When we first started 20 years ago, there weren't many of us, and many of our partners back in the day are no longer around as a business. So we're proud of what we have accomplished, and we're proud that we're here to help you, and we want to help you go to the next level. So with all that said, we're going to sign off for now. Please reach out, and we look forward to being a partner and helping you go to the next level. Take care.